Welcome back to the social science class 10, History, chapter number 1, Nationalism in Europe. This is the fourth part of the series, and today we will recapitulate the unification of Italy once, and then after that we will further with the next part of the chapter. As we did in the part 3, that the Italy was divided into 7 states. Sardinia, Piedmont ruled by Italian princely states. The north was under the Austrian Habsburg. The center part was ruled by the popes. The southern regions were under the Bourbon kings of Spain. And in the unification of Italy, the important role were played by Giuseppe Mazzini, Cavour, and Giuseppe Garibaldi. And due to the illiteracy of the people, the peasants' masses who had supported Garibaldi in southern Italy had never heard of Italia and believed that the La Italia was a Victor Emmanuel's wife, and Victor Emmanuel too was the ruler of Italy, unified Italy. Now let us start with the next topic of the chapter, the strange case of Britain. Prior to 18th century, there was no Britain nation. The primary identities of the people who inhabited the British Isles were ethnic ones like the English, Welsh, Scot, or the Irish ones. But as the English nation steadily grew in wealth, importance, and power, thus it extended its influence over other nations of the island. In 1688, England established a nation state as English Parliament seized power from the monarch. The Act of Union 1907 between England and Scotland resulted in the formation of the United Kingdom of the Great Britain. As the English Parliament was dominated by its English members, thus the Scotland distinctive culture and the political institutions were systematically suppressed. The Scottish Highlanders were forbidden to speak their Gaelic language or wear their national dress, and large numbers were forcibly driven out of their homeland. The same fate was with Ireland also. The Ireland suffered a similar fate as it was deeply divided between Catholics and Protestants. The English helped the Protestants of Ireland to establish other dominance over a largely Catholic country. Catholic revolts was led by Wolfe Tone and his United Irishmen in 1789, although which was suppressed, and in 1801 Ireland was forcibly taken by the British. A new British nation was founded through the propagation of a dominant English culture. The symbols of the New Britain were the British flag, Union Jack, the national anthem, God Save Our Noble King, and the English language. Let us continue with one of the video to be presented here. So this you have seen the national anthem of Britain. Our next topic comes visualizing the nation. Nations were portrayed as the female figure, allegory, the female form that was chosen to personify the nation did not stand for any particular woman real life. Rather, it sought to give the abstract ideas of the nation a concrete form. In France, the allegory was christened as Marianne, which underlined the idea of a people's nation. Her characteristics were drawn from those of liberty and the republic, the red cap, the tricolor, and cockade. Statues of Marianne were erected in public squares to remind the public of the national symbol of unity and to persuade them to identify with it. Marianne images were marked on coins and stamps too. In Germany, Germania became the allegory of the nation state. In visual representations, Germania wears a crown of oak leaves as the German oak stands for heroism. Our next topic comes the nationalism and imperialism. By the last quarter of the 19th century, nationalism no longer retained its idealistic liberal democratic sentiments. Nationalist groups became increasingly intolerant to each other and ever ready to go to the war, due to which the major European powers manipulated the nationalist aspirations to their own imperialistic aims. As the Balkans was a region of ethnic variations comprised of the modern day Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, and Montenegro, which was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The idea of romantic nationalism made this region very explosive. The Balkan states were firstly jealous of each other and each hoped to gain more territory at the expense of each other. The Balkan peoples based their claim for independence or the political rights on the nationality and used history to prove that they had been once independent. Hence, rebellious nationalities broke to win back their long lost independence. Here on the map, you can see the various areas of the Balkan states, which were previously comprised into one of the empire named as Ottoman Empire. As the different Slavic nationalities struggled to define their identity and independence, the Balkan area became an area of intense conflict. European powers were also looking forward to extend their control over the area, and there was intense rivalry among the European powers over trade and colonies as well as the naval and military might. And each power, Russia, Germany, England, Austro-Hungary, were keen on countering the hold over the Balkans and extending its own control over the area. And such a situation led to a series of wars in the region and finally the First World War. Nationalism aligned with imperialism led Europe to disaster in 1914, and many countries which had been colonized by the European powers began to impose the imperial domination, due to which the anti-imperial movements were nationalist as they all struggled to form the independent nation state and were inspired by a sense of collective nations unity. European ideas of the nationalism were now nowhere replicated, as now the people developed their own specific variety of nationalism. But the idea that societies should be recognized into nation states came to accepted as natural and universal. So here we wind up with the first chapter of class 10 history, nationalism in Europe. Thank you.